I'm Tamara.
And welcome to
Born to the Game podcast.
Today we have a fun episode for you.
It's about to be good.
It's about to be good, right?
Yeah.
We have the daughter of a legend.
Urban legends.
Urban legend. Football champion. 3 times, right? 3 times? University of Florida, Ohio State. Urban Meyer's daughter, Nicki Meyer, is here. She's joining us virtually. She could not make it in person, but she's here virtually. And we're going to get this conversation going.
Let's get it going.
Hi, Nicki.
Nicki, hello.
Hi. We're so happy
Hi, guys.
and excited to have you with us. Thank you for sitting down with us today. We're going to ask you some fun questions, get to know you a little bit better. But I do want to start off by saying Nicki and I were teammates.
Yes.
At Georgia Tech. So we met each other. How long? It's been what? How many years since we played? Almost what?
No, don't tell on yourselves now.
It's been almost 15 years.
15 years.
Wow.
10 years? It's been more than 10.
Yeah, it's been 10
How old are we?
years.
I don't even know. People are like, how old are you? And I'm like,
I don't know.
I'm 34. I might be 35. I'm not sure.
It
I don't
seems
know
like
how
we
long
graduated a year ago, and it's been a decade. So yeah, Nicki and I played volleyball together at Georgia Tech, but we'll talk about that.
Yes, we'll get into that. So firstly, how's Las Vegas?
Yeah.
How's it going? How are you feeling today?
I love Las Vegas. My soul is home. Like, I feel like I've been meant to live here my whole life. I love it here. We just moved here. I think it's been over a month now, and everyone is thriving. We are so happy. We love it.
You moved there from Tulsa, right, Oklahoma, because Corey got a coaching job with UNLV. So we'll get into now. You are a coach's wife, following the footsteps of Miss Mama Shelley. We're gonna get into that conversation later. But we wanted to start off by asking you, if you could describe being born to the game in 3 words, what would those 3 words be?
Not a sip of wine.
We gotta sip some wine for this one.
This is how this episode's going.
I already know. That's it.
I feel like mom and dad raised me better than this, but words are what the
Literally. Okay, so why
realer than that?
I mean,
it's just that.
Yeah.
Every scenario in this business, there's so many twists and turns, highs, lows.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's it.
So what the we're gonna bleep it out, don't worry.
Yes.
There's so many highs and lows. So walk us through your dad and his coaching journey. Did you guys move together? How was that experience like moving? How many cities did you move to? Like, kind of walk us through your upbringing.
Walk us through the why
I guess.
Yes. So I was born in Colorado, and earlier in his career, we were in like 5-year stretches. So 5 years in Colorado, 5 years at Notre Dame. He was an assistant, and then he got his first head coaching job. And we were little, like back in those days. I don't even think my brother was born yet. He was born in Indiana, actually. So we all just moved as a family. Little kids, it's easy, pack them up, move. He got his first head coaching job at Bowling Green. I was 10 years old. Still was okay with moving, was fine. We all went together. And then it got a little more complicated when he took the job at Utah 2 short years later. My parents actually, I threw a little bit of a fit for that one for the first time, really was stubborn about the move. My parents let me stay in Bowling Green, Ohio for 6 more weeks or something to finish out school. I stayed with my best friend and her family. And then I moved to Utah when school was over. So that was the first time we were not all together.
Okay.
We were at Utah for 2 years, and then he took the Florida job, and I think we moved pretty quickly then too. But it's never immediate. There are always a few weeks, maybe a month where, he would go on without us.
Okay.
But my parents were so good when we were moving, they didn't give a ton of space for it to be this huge thing. They were like, you know what, we're going to go see different parts of the country. You guys are awesome kids. You're going to make new friends. You're going to have friends all over when this is all said and done. And And so there just wasn't like a ton of space for us to complain or have anxiety about it. It was just the way it was life as we knew it.
They hyped it up to be this like
Yeah.
exciting journey that you guys were about
Almost
to embark
preparing them
on.
probably for what they knew was to come.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, it was great. I enjoyed it as a kid, and I think it built just a lot of, good characteristics in me and my siblings. Like, we're pretty adaptable. We're pretty comfortable with people we don't know.
Yeah.
I think that just helped grow us into who we are today.
Yeah. So when was the last time that you moved? How was it when you were leaving friends? Do you feel like it made you come closer together as a family unit each time you moved? How was that experience?
Yeah, it definitely did. My siblings to this day are my best friends. We talk almost every day. Our family unit is extremely tight-knit. And I think moving had a lot to do with that. You're thrown to a new atmosphere. You don't know anybody but each other. And like just navigating that together really bonded us. We built a lot of trust with each other. We've been through a lot together. I think coaching is such an extreme way of life.
It is.
So I think that in itself just really has bonded our family for sure.
So your dad has coached 5 different teams, 4 college teams and 1 NFL team. So every time you moved together and it was a new adventure, what were some of the challenges? Like, I mean, yes, you had to move, but what are some things in the dynamic from the family that caused challenges from all the moving and the separation?
His career path was very interesting. I think it's probably pretty unique in the sense like it was a pretty steady climb uphill. There wasn't a lot of this during that initial climb. And so I think what was interesting about that is we started just, as an assistant's family, which is great. Like you don't have the full spotlight on you.
The pressure isn't
and so
on you.
coming into the spotlight, it was gradual, I would say, because we started at Bowling Green, which is an amazing place. We loved living there, but then it's obviously not the same stage as like Florida is, for example.
Ohio State.
right.
Yeah.
We moved, that spotlight just got really, really, really big.
Wow.
And I think adjusting to that was probably, like, I remember seeing him on commercials on drinking like orange juice, promoting orange juice. I was like, why would they have you? No offense. Like, why would they want you to promote orange juice?
Wow. So do you think in that moment you realized, oh, wow, dad is a big deal?
I remember being at a press conference. I can't remember if it was Utah or Florida, but I just remember people like catering to my mom, like just surrounding her, being like, what do you need? What do you need? Like, can I do anything? Can I take your coat? And I just was like,
that's weird.
I just thought that was very extreme.
Yeah.
That was my first taste of that. And then seeing my dad on TV and like watching people interact with him, like that started to change. And I was probably 15, 14. Like, so I was young. And so that was just all very weird.
Yeah. Your dad is gaining fame. Did that change your relationship with him? How was he as a father during this process and as he's getting more and more famous and everyone's catering to him? Like, how was that dynamic between you guys?
I feel that my parents like intended for this, but I became more and more aware. Each time we were about to move, I was overhearing certain conversations, and I started to understand what his dream was, to go win a national championship, which to me was so big. That was like such a big dream. I think he knew in his heart his whole life that he could do that. I think like he wanted that, but I never even thought of that. And so I became just his biggest cheerleader along the way, like realizing like when you look at your parent and you're like, I want them to go achieve their dreams. Like that's just such a unique dynamic as a kid, because usually that's them. But when you think that about your parent, we all just kind of rallied behind him. I think that was really what changed the most. But my parents, again, like their style is, I don't know, I'm not like promoting this necessarily because it worked very well for us. They don't give a bunch of space for negativity. Which so is awesome. Of course, like with fame comes a lot of challenges. There comes, the spotlight's bigger and like the criticism is louder. And my parents just said like, hey, your dad is he's got a really good opportunity in front of him. we're going to win some games. We're going to be able to do some really fun things.
Yeah.
But people might be mean to you after we lose, or
Yeah.
people, might say some things about your dad that aren't true. And that's just part of it. And that was it. That was like the only conversation we had about it.
So when she said that and it came, right? Because the negativity does come. Was that something that was easy for you to just like maneuver and you just were able to like use those words and go with it? You didn't allow any of the negativity to bother you, or did it bother you at some point?
It so bothered me.
Okay.
For in the early stages. And so many people have asked me this over the years. I think with each trial or with each thing that we went through, and they kind of come in waves. Like we kind of like go and just ride the wave with everybody else, but then he ends up in the spotlight.
Yeah.
And it just gets piled on. I think every time that happened, I built just another layer of skin. Wow. And so I have like 100 layers of skin by now to where I could read anything and I don't care. I don't care. But that came with just a lot of repetition.
A lot of experience. Look, Nicki, you could have rubbed off on me the last couple years I was dealing with the Indiana fan base because, I could have.
So we're gonna get into that because I mean you could write a book to be honest, just on how, because I would imagine that you would use the skill that they're teaching you, this thick skin that they're allowing you to grow into, that you use it in life. As a woman, as a mother, as a wife now. So talk about that. How has being brought up in this nucleus, in this ecosystem of fame and sports and, fans and just craziness, how does that help in your everyday life as a person that you're not your dad? You are a totally different person. How does that impact you and how does it help you?
I think it just gives me a lot of perspective. I think perspective is something that like I have a lot of I fall short in like a million ways, so many ways. But one thing that I think I just have a lot of perspective, and it allows me to just take a step back, like consider the source, like who's saying it,
that's good.
Why, like what does it mean? And this little exercise that I used to do as I was building my armor of my thick skin, I would look at the person's profile, and if you just scroll through, all they do is talk crap to people all the time. It's just like what they
trolling,
and most of the time it's fake accounts. It's
trolls.
And honestly, they really just want you to
respond.
So Nicki, tell us how the Urban Meyer is as a dad. I know he's your best friend, so just tell the audience just how he is just as a father.
We know that he's a great coach.
He's a great coach.
So
like that's been proven. So how is he as a dad?
I seriously, it's funny because I've had a lot of really young coaches lately that are starting families, and growing up in this industry, I feel, again, perspective I am lucky to have, because people worry as parents. They're like, is this okay for our kids? Like, we've moved twice in 2 years, and like, their dad's always busy. And I just feel so moved to tell people, like, you can be such great parents and be great in this industry. And my dad was he should write a parenting book, I swear, as a coach, because he's the best. Like that man, I am loyal person ever to him. He is such a good father. And the way he did it, his time was so minimal, but he was so overly intentional with every minute that he had with us. He still is. And I just think it was so not about quantity, but like the quality was unmatched. Our time with him was so good as kids. And he put a lot of work into that. And we would have like mailboxes, or I specifically, I think I was the only one old enough to like read at that point. I would have like a little mailbox outside of my door, and he would write me letters every night because I was usually asleep when he got home, or I would write one back about like how I was doing. I still have them. I have them like stored away. He was so intentional. He was excellent. He was so good.
Wow. And so now that you are in the same industry, your husband's coaching, I know that's something that Corey, I'm sure you've told your husband about, and some of those traditions he may even want to pass along to y'all's children. That's awesome. What life lessons has your dad taught you? You also played sports. What's the best advice your dad gave you?
Just his whole message to us was, if you work as hard as you can,
Yeah.
everything else is fine. Like, no matter what happens, as long as you were working as hard as you could, there's nothing that you could have done wrong. So if you're off, like, as long as your effort was good, like, then you can go to bed at night feeling like you did all you could. And I feel like that can translate into life too. And that was it. He was all about effort and just work ethic. And I think that was just something I'm really glad that he instilled in all of us young. And we weren't allowed to do anything. Like, as kids, he was like, you can't do anything until you're great at one thing. He was like, I don't care if you're great at working, going to work, but like, you're not just going to sit home. You're either going to be great at a sport, you're going to be great at a job, you're going to go do something right now. And as parents, it's so hard to just reinforce rules all the time, because it just takes a lot of time. And sometimes it's just easier to be like, I forget that I even said that, because it's just taking too long. Like, my parents kept their foot down.
Wow.
And as a parent, I'm like, wow, that was a lot of effort.
Yeah.
Okay, so you brought it up, so I'm going to ask. I got 2 words for you, okay? Shelley Meyer.
Go.
Icon. She's maybe tougher than my dad. And they are just they were the perfect force for that industry. She was the perfect level of toughness for us, training us to be tough and like learn how to just deal with the criticism. But she was also like such a nurturing, like just breathing in like just calmness to him and to us as well. I like will never forget, like, even until he was, I don't know, at Ohio State for sure. I saw it with my own eyes. She would walk him to the car every single morning with a bagel, like wrapped up in foil so it would still be warm when he got to work.
That's so sweet.
And coffee. Like, she just would walk him out there every day to the car, see him off, and then just deal with the home front so he didn't even have to think about it. Like, I fall short every day because I'm like, how I can never live up to that. Like, but if I'm like 50%, then I'm doing really good.
So when we spoke to you the other day, you referred to Miss Shelley as the silent assassin.
Yes.
The silent assassin.
She is.
Why is she the silent assassin?
Explain that. Why did you choose those words for Miss Shelley?
I feel that, like, and my dad he would say this too, like, he just couldn't have done it without her. Like, she was the one, like, in the background dealing with everything that comes with this, all the stress, all the drama. And she just is a rock. Like, she was such a rock when we were growing up. But she like pushed him, and like he was always the one like in the light, like, getting all the credit for how great, but like she just was in the back, like handling her business, ready to protect, ready to defend, and ready to nurture. And she just somehow handled it like such a beast every day.
So now that you are a coach's wife, what's one thing that you've seen her do that you're currently doing as a wife in this industry?
I think she embraced the industry for what it is. Okay. I think there's so many wives, like myself in particular, like just try to fight it sometimes. Like, you put up resistance when your husband's like, all right, I have to go on the road for 4 weeks recruiting, and it's all like you're on your own. And sometimes I'm in Las Vegas, and I don't have a village here. Like, so I'm like, well, who's going to help me? Like, I will fight and I'll resist the industry. I never saw her do that. She just was like, no, it is what it is. And your dad's going to be gone for 6 weeks, and it's just us. So what do you guys want breakfast for dinner? Like, it was just
like you never really saw her stressing about anything. Wow.
No, even when things were bad, she was like, you can't just have it great all the time. Like, of course we're going to lose. Of course people are going to say mean things. Like, it's not fair unless you deal with this part too.
It just sounds like she had an understanding of the weight of the assignment. I mean, and even though it looks like a job, but it's really a purpose thing, because now, she has raised these children in this crazy light with all this extra stuff that the everyday person doesn't even begin to understand. And now she has kids who know how to navigate life. I mean, and I think that's just the biggest thing, because so many people, they don't have those skills. They don't have coping skills. They don't know how, when change happens, they don't know how to maneuver. So I think what she was doing was just raising up a whole another generation of people.
She set a strong foundation that you now can use for your children. Because you talked about, because your children have moved quite a few times already in a few years. And you say that your children are also very resilient. They adapt well. So, you know, Miss Shelley, she laid out the foundation for you, and now you just are able to grow off of that. And so she is iconic. She's a silent assassin. She's the real MVP in all of this, and that's what a lot of people don't understand. It really is. It's the wives that are holding it down at home so that our dads can have the careers that they've had for as long as they've had.
They need to write a playbook. She needs to write a playbook.
Really
her
do.
and a bunch of these other wives.
And now you. And
Tell
now
her.
you.
Tell her we said she needs to write a playbook.
I wish she would.
Yeah.
I mean, I really think the one thing that I took from my parents is to not give too much space for just the negativity. Like, I want my kids to feel heard. I want them to feel their feelings are valid, like, of course. But also, like, okay, like, get it out there, but what are we going to do? Like, how are we going to,
what are you going to do? That's right.
Pivot and, like, make this good and embrace what it is and, like, grow from it. We didn't, like, sit around and let a bunch of it just fester. Like, we're not allowed to do that. And so I just have tried to carry that too. I think it's helped, definitely helped.
Now that I think back, I don't think I've ever really seen you upset, Nicki, ever. So hearing this, it makes sense, because we played together for 3 years at Georgia Tech. You've always been extremely positive and extremely nurturing. So your husband's coaching young players. How have you been able to, I guess, pour back into some of your husband's players the same way that you've seen your mom do it with you guys and your dad's players?
Yeah, I think sports have changed so much so fast. There's so much money, and there's so much weight, and there's social media, and it's just getting so big that now more than ever, first of all, I want our players' moms to know me and to know that, like, they can call me at any hour and ask me to put together an Easter basket for their son, like little stuff like that. Like, I just be like a small version of, like, them that's close to their sons while they're away from home. And I feel like kids there's so much weight on their shoulders. And I just feel moved to just tell, like, look what people have said about my dad. Like, look what people have said about my family. And, like, it doesn't matter. I feel like I can relate to them. Just growing up and having criticism, but also just being, and they're around men all the time. They're around their teammates, and they're around our husbands and the other coaches. I'm like, it just feels good to have a female walk in the room and and tell me, like, if my husband's being mean to you, you can vent, like, whatever. And so I just want them to trust me, and I want the moms to trust me, utilize me. And that's just, like, that's what I feel like I try to do.
And I can tell you're so passionate about it. It's so beautiful to see your passion behind people's kids, because I think people don't look at these athletes as kids. They're in school. They look at them as, like, adults. And it's like, I mean, they are adults, but they're young adults, and they're in school. Like, they're there to learn and to play and to learn and to grow to be young men, to be men out here. And so I don't think they think about that.
They don't.
The players were so blessed too, because they are so good to my kids. Like, it's like the very least I could do is to be there for them in any way. But the way they treat our kids, like, those dynamics are so special. Like, it just like is the gift that, like, we all give each other, I think. Like, it's just like a family unit that just somehow, like, tries to be there for everybody, and it's just special. Like, it's funny, like, a tough rap. I don't want to say a bad rap, but it's tough. But I'm married into this industry, like, knowing full well, like, what comes with it. And I just think it's so great. I think it's so great as a family. I think it's great for kids. But the players really do make it, like, such a good experience. We've got, like, every NFL jersey now that they all
I love
play
that.
for and wear them and root
I
for
love
them.
that.
It's just, and you watch them go through their own turns too. Like
Yeah.
if you're not in a storm, like someone you know is, and I just,
Would you say that your passion in life right now is to pour back into the game the way that it's poured into you?
if I could like get organized, like I so like would. I just am like,
Yeah.
I'm just all over the place. But like, yes, and I try in like small ways
Yeah.
to like show up and like be there and do the things that make a little difference. But this industry is like, it's like the deep blue sea. There's like nothing, I don't think, like formally in place that's there to, support. I think people try to do their best, but it's like the Wild West too. Like things are changing so fast and things are so new.
Yeah.
But yeah, if I could ever like get my life organized in a sense that I could do something, like there's just such a space for it. There's such a need.
A TED Talk.
Yeah,
You need to do a TED. Look, TED Talk. TED Talk.
You really do need to do a
TED
TED
Talk.
Talk.
Do
Yeah.
a TED Talk.
because your story, again, because you talk about you want the moms and the players to trust you. There's no better person to talk to these guys and to share their testimony than you and your family, and how you guys have always rose above anything that came to destroy you, and you carry yourself with such grace and dignity, and you've always been like that. And I think a TED Talk would be iconic for you.
A TED Talk.
Definitely watch that.
I think what's interesting too is like my perspective. Again, perspective is like the word of the day. I feel like wouldn't it be fair for me to sit here and be like, oh, coaching's so great if like all that ever happened to us was like national championships and like winning.
Yeah.
It's fair because the things that like our family has had to go through has been like probably it's been like bad, like relative to like other coaches. Like I would rank us like up there in the drama column. And so I feel like we've seen both sides. Gives it like just a very fair evaluation of like the full picture, really. And being in our own storms, like when people reach out, it was like such like the timing wasn't on accident. Like I truly believe that people are prompted to like check in on someone, or they're prompted to say something, or just to be like, hey, I'm praying for you, I'm thinking of you. And there are so many times in my life that I've been prompted or I felt that I need to reach out, and I just don't, because you're like, oh, I don't want to like
bother anybody.
I just don't want to But what I've learned is every single time someone has sent me something, it has mattered, and it has been sometimes like a really critical moment where it was just what I needed to hear. And whether I respond or not, like just it might have been the difference for strength for like another day to like get through whatever it was that we were going through.
So didn't you guys used to call each other tits? And I'm sorry, I'm throwing it in here because I want to get to this to Georgia Tech a little bit.
We did. We called each other tits.
But why?
Why? I don't know.
I think it's because like
Corey. I was like, I don't remember.
I think it's because we used to like chest bump each other, maybe like before practice and games, and like the chest tits used to,
Okay, and then just hey tits, how's it going?
It would
How's
just
school?
be like, oh hey tits. Smack the booty and keep going about your day.
Natural.
Yeah, very natural.
I mean, the guys do it. They slap each other's butts.
That was a very, very natural thing for us to do. So let's talk about what you're doing now.
Yeah.
Like Nicki Meyer Dennis, what are you doing now with your life?
Well, I feel like now I'm like managing logistics of moving 3 times in like a year. I
So
feel like
you're a
I'm like
momager.
utility companies all over the country. I have accounts and I'm probably still paying for all of them. I don't know. But no, I think raising my 3 amazing kids, Troy's 8, Gray is 6, Sav is 3, Savannah, Sav.
Oh.
And so that's obviously my priority. And then I work. I've been with this company for 11 years. They're like family to me. It's based out of Columbus, Ohio. So I'm working. They were gracious enough to let me keep working even remotely.
Wow.
With all the moves. But yeah, I feel we stay busy. We've got sports all over the place, and we're trying to support Corey, and so it's just constant. Go.
Busy.
She does it all. You work in corporate, you're a mom, you're a wife. you travel all the time. You
She's
you
a-
still do it with such grace.
Yes.
And we could all learn
A
something.
budding public speaker. I'm
Yes.
saying it. I'm calling it today.
Yes.
Yes, yes, definitely.
I don't know. Can you drink champagne?
You can. You can.
Yes, you
Nobody's
can.
If you
You
put it
actually
in a
can.
water bottle, you know what I mean, that's not clear, you can put whatever you
Or
want
just
in
have
there.
a liquor company sponsor you.
Boom.
And
Then
then
it has to be
then
out there.
Then it has to be out there. Get a wine company to sponsor, which I'm sure plenty would.
So we want to play some
So,
games
Let's.
before we let her go.
I feel like we've covered it. You know, we wanted to move through this quickly. Well, I guess Nicki, like, what are your eyes set on in the future? Like, where is it staying in Vegas, and Corey can stay at UNLV for the rest of y'all's days? Like, where do you see yourself in the near future?
It's funny, like God is so mysterious, like the most mysterious
Yes.
ever. And like that has been, I've always, by the way, like believed there's a plan. Like I've always
Yeah.
believed that my whole life. I was raised to believe that.
Yeah.
I've never experienced it, I don't think, until this last like year and a half. And
Wow.
so like what I hope, what my eyes are set on
Yeah.
is just the scenario where our family is thriving, like where we're
Yes.
happy, where we're around good people, where Corey is in a position that he's valued and that he's
Yeah.
happy, that he loves his players and his staff. Like I don't even care other than that. Like there's
Okay.
no place, there's no
Yeah.
person. Like and I will just let God take that and like do his thing
Yeah.
because he did that here.
Yeah.
We prayed for like a year. We were like, we
Yeah.
just want to end up in the place.
Yes.
And I was thinking like in my mind, like I had places. I'm like, well, this would be great, or this scenario would be great.
Yeah.
All of a sudden UNLV pops up and we
Wow.
looked at each other and we were like
Yeah.
that's it. And
This
if you
is
gave me
it.
a pad and paper and said,
Yeah.
write it out, where do you want to be
It's
in
UNLV.
2025?
Yeah.
I wouldn't have come up with it this
Wow.
good of a plan. Like
Yeah.
it just,
I love
Okay.
that.
I'm my hands are up
Yeah.
and I am just trusting that like
Yes.
wherever we are,
You'll
our
be.
feet are gonna be. We're just committed to that. It's on purpose.
Yeah.
So that's kind of where my mind is at.
And as long as you're with your family,
Yeah.
I guess nothing else really matters. Like your family's healthy, you're happy, you're thriving, you guys are together, family. I know family means a lot to you. So I know just
It
having your
does.
family together, at the end of the day, you can make home anywhere. And that's one thing you do learn being born into this industry is that home isn't necessarily a place. It's the
Right.
people, it's your family, it's the memories that you make together. It's not necessarily a specific location. Because even for myself, what's home for me? Like I bounced around as well. I went from Houston, Atlanta, New York, LA. I'm in New Orleans now. So it really is about my family being together no matter where we are. So I love that you said that. 'cause
And I would
your
imagine
kids-
creating family that's not family, that's
Yeah.
not blood family, but
Yeah.
creating those families as you every location you're at. So
Such a good
Establish-
point too. Like you meet people along the way.
Yeah.
And Mariah, like I remember meeting you in
Yeah.
college and like without knowing anything about you,
Yeah.
I knew like we were gonna understand each other
Yeah.
more than like most people.
Yep.
You find good people in this industry and it's
Yes.
rare that you
Yes.
stick together. Like if people just end up on their own path.
Yeah.
But you always root for them.
Yeah.
Like you just always
Yep.
you remember them, you pray for
Yeah.
them, you root for them, you want the best for them, you
Yep.
stay in touch. It's just special in that way, you know? And
Yeah.
the bond is real and distance is real.
Yep.
But I just really cherish the relationship that we've been able to make in this industry for sure.
Well, Nicki, we are going to transition into some games because we know we don't have a lot more time with you.
Yay.
You've played Start Bench Cut before, right? Or no?
What is it?
Okay, so it's called Start Bench Cut. So I'm gonna give you 3 different scenarios,
Oh.
and then you tell me which one you
Okay.
want to start, which one you want to bench, and which one you want to
what
cut.
about suspend?
No, let's just do Start
Okay.
Bench Cut.
Okay.
All right, so seeing Zach
Starve?
Bryant-
Like starve?
Like start
like in a game,
a starter player.
like a start. You're gonna start it
Oh.
in a game. You're gonna either bench it or you're gonna completely cut it.
get cut from the team.
You're gonna be cut from the team. So
I like this
I'm
game.
gonna give you 3 different scenarios. Seeing Zach Bryant in Vegas at a show. Okay, that's one scenario. you're going to be eating sushi in Japan. That's another scenario. Or skiing in Europe. So which one are you going to start? Which one are you going to bench? And which one are you going to cut?
I'll bench Zach in Vegas.
Okay.
I'll bench it. I would love it, but those other two, I'm like a huge bucket. I'm like not a super like star person. Like
Okay.
I like love people and like I'm very starstruck all the time. The experiences, like I just those are gonna take the cake every time. So like I'm gonna start. Ooh, I'm gonna ski in Europe. I'm like in a ski vibe. I just did 2 ski trips, like ski. Bench Zach, and then what was the other one?
Cut. Which one are you
We're
cutting?
Gonna eat sushi in Japan.
You cutting it?
Oh no, I'm cutting Zach.
Okay.
Cut Zach.
She's
Sorry.
like, once you
Sorry,
said
Zach.
sushi. Okay,
So who are you starting now? You still starting skiing?
Ski.
Okay.
I'm gonna start skiing. I'm gonna bench Tokyo because I'm gonna get there.
Okay.
And then Zach's cut.
Zach,
Sorry.
sorry,
Zach.
Zach, if you're listening, we still love you.
We love you, but sorry.
But sorry.
I do love you. Yes.
Yeah, she
love
really
you.
does
Love you.
love you. Sorry. Okay. Do we have any? How much time do we have left?
We have 5 minutes.
We
Okay.
have 5 minutes. So let's. You know what? Let's talk about. Let's do our outro.
Okay, let's do it.
Give her some time to do the outro.
Let's do it.
So your dad, the Urban Meyer, has left his mark in his industry, football. How will you legendize your world? And I think because we didn't get to talk about it early, but talk about if this is part of your answer, even the journals that you gave to your players and the Bible verses. Because I just think like you, the way that you pour into people, at least to me, and I'm like answering the question for you, but that's part of how I see you legendizing the world.
I think, gosh, yeah, that is such it's like a family tradition first. My dad always gave each of us a journal. I mean, I like literally have it right here. Like I don't even know. I probably have like 20 of these, like totally filled out. But Corey and I got some we get some for our players, and we put in a Bible verse. Usually it's like Joshua 1:9 or like something like that.
Yeah.
Just like the strong, courageous, brave, like those ones. And then we also put in the quote, "Man in the arena." I actually think I might have it right here. I actually have a big framed picture of it. Yeah.
Okay.
I'll send it to you.
Yeah, text us that.
But it says, I'll read just a couple of lines that are my favorite. It's not the critic who counts, not the man who points out how the strong man stumbles, or where the doer of deeds could have done them better. Let's see. I'm trying to, there's one line in here that's just like so good.
I love that.
You can read it if you want.
He who at worst he fails, at least fails while daring greatly. That's so good. Like, because I feel like people who are the loudest, like they've never attempted. Like, they've never put in work, their life into anything. So they just don't like whereas like these people, like whether coaches or players, they put in their entire lives into something and then they fail anyway sometimes. That's the hard part to grasp, like, but at least they tried. But the Man in the Arena, a Bible verse, and journals are like something that we just like really try to do, especially quarterbacks are such a small group. Like you can do like so many things with them because you don't have like 20. But yeah, that's something that I will try to make a tradition every single year.
I love that. That's honestly, I'm going to take that quote and put it in my notes as well, because again, that's something that I know personally I needed to hear even on my own journey. So I love that.
It's just such a mic drop.
Yeah,
like it's just like it just ends. Like whatever it like, okay, come at me. I failed, fine. But at least I'm out here doing something. Like it just like conversation is just over.
Yeah, it's definitely
but that's literally it. Like
I mean that's it. Yeah.
Like, your words can't affect me.
Yeah.
Mic drop.
And so that's for you. I mean, you're starting something new, and I mean, you might get negative comments, but
all the time,
at least you're doing it. At least you're starting. This is episode 2.
Yeah.
And this is how that attitude is what we
Yeah.
need to do moving forward.
Moving forward.
So I think you
Nikki, you're
ended
such
our
a gem.
episode
Yes,
beautifully.
Yes, you are such
With your
a
mic
gem.
drop.
Mic drop moment.
Yeah.
Thank
drop.
you for just taking. Can we do a cheers and just?
Yes. Could
You
we
are
just-
amazing.
Aw.
Thank you for being part of our season opener.
Yes.
We love your family. Again, you are such a gem. You are a walking light.
Yeah.
You exude light. Your family. We love you and thank you for being part of this with us. And I can't
Thank
wait
you for
I can't
having
wait for
me.
people to just hear you.
Hear
and-
more of
and
you.
Hear more
Yes,
of you.
hear more of
and
you.
Again, get a different perspective that most people, your average person, just wouldn't know about you and your family and this lifestyle. So,
Cheers to Nikki.
cheers.
Cheers.
We want to give a special shout out to Chef Blake, a good family friend of ours. He was so gracious and decided to sponsor all of our meals today. So shout out to you, Chef Blake.
Thank you,
and
Chef Blake.
Vagabonds Catering. Did you guys enjoy it? It was good?
It was good.
Perfect.
Good. I'm ready
Thank
for
you.
mine because I
know.
haven't had mine yet.
Like, we haven't had it yet, but shout out to you, Chef Blake. Thank you, and we love you so much.
Thank y'all for
Yes.
doing this. This
Oh,
is
thank you.
this is what people need to hear.
Yes.
So this is really powerful. You guys are
Yes.
starting this, and thanks for having me. But thank you so much
Yes.
just for doing this in general. I think
Yes.
you're gonna humanize this industry,
Yes,
and I think that
absolutely.
is like what it's needing.
Yes.
So
And our
this
best
is important.
Our best to Corey and
Yes,
the team,
yes.
UNLV.
We will be rooting for UNLV.
Yes, definitely.
And best of wishes to you. Next time, we got to get Gigi and your brother on so that we can have a family
Yes.
sit down with the Myers. Let's do it. Okay.
Thank you guys so much.
Thank you.
Alrighty,
Cheers.
Bye, Nikki.
Okay, cheers, guys.